DeAndre Hopkins has finally decided where he is going to go, and he has signed a 2-year deal with the Tennessee Titans worth up to $32 million in incentives. How does this work for him? What is this situation going to be like? Are the Titans better with DeAndre Hopkins? Are they the same? We're going to be looking at that in today's video. We're going to be looking at the Titans roster a little bit and kind of discussing where DeAndre Hopkins fits in, what he can be to that team, and we'll kind of give an updated record for the Titans with DeAndre Hopkins. Now, if you missed my Titans deep dive, I had the Titans finishing at 6-11 before this. We're going to be talking, does it change their record at all? Does it make them more of a contender in an already stacked AFC? I'm going to be breaking that down today. But before we get into it, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you are new, and leave a comment and let me know, where do you guys think the Titans finish with DeAndre Hopkins, who is one of the 10 to 15 best wide receivers in football still to this day. We know how amazing he is. He has been absolutely incredible. He has some of the best hands we have ever seen. And coming off a suspension last year where he violated the league's PEDs, was suspended the first 8 games of the year, he came back and actually was really solid for the Arizona Cardinals with 64 receptions for 717 yards and 3 touchdowns. This was in an up and down year in Arizona, with Kyler Murray sitting a lot of the second half of the year due to an ACL tear. He was still dominant, and we know how good DeAndre Hopkins can be. Throughout his career, he really hasn't had a great quarterback. Yes, Kyler Murray I think is underrated and has been a good quarterback. Deshaun Watson was by far the best quarterback he's ever played with, but he's been up and down in terms of quarterback play going back to the year he was drafted. This is a guy who has 71 touchdowns and almost 12,000 yards in his career, and he has been productive everywhere he has been, whether that is Houston, whether that is Arizona, and now Tennessee. Going back to his career high year where he was really good in that 2018 season, 2015, both where he went for 1,500 yards, 13 touchdowns in 2017. But this is a receiver who's getting up there in age. Drafted in 2013, getting a little bit older, so we got to talk about this because the Titans have a history of going out and signing older receivers who really start to see a decline when they get to Tennessee. Most recently, going back to Julio Jones, where they traded quite a bit to get Julio Jones. That just didn't end up working out. I believe he only played in a few games for the Titans before they ultimately let him go. They also signed Andre Johnson back in the day and Randy Moss. So 3 receivers that by the time they went to Tennessee, they started to fall off. This feels a little bit different than that because I think Hopkins is still very productive, as we saw last year in limited games, 717 yards and 3 touchdowns. But at the same time, it doesn't feel all that different because this is a common trend with Tennessee, older receivers, and the quarterback play is not great in Tennessee. Ryan Tannehill is coming off a year where he had 2,536 yards and 13 touchdowns on the year, where he also threw 6 interceptions. Now, he did only play in 12 games, so I'm not putting too much pressure on him in that regard, but he was definitely worse last year than he had been in previous years. He just looked a lot more stiff in the pocket, couldn't really escape, and he's getting up there in age as well as an older quarterback who was drafted in 2012. So I'm going to be interested to see what they did. Now, they drafted willlevis. They drafted Malik Willis in the 2022 draft. Malik Willis was terrible as a rookie, which we kind of all knew was going to happen. He needed time to develop. Unfortunately, the Titans kind of rushed him out there. And then Will Levis, who by all accounts has not been looking great in training camp, mini camp for Tennessee. So the quarterback play isn't great for Tennessee. We saw a pretty rough year last year. In 12 games, Ryan Tannehill was sacked 33 times. He was sacked 47 times in 2021. This is a guy who's been getting beat up as well. So we're going to be interested to see how healthy Tannehill can be, because I think he's pretty clear the best quarterback on the roster. But unfortunately, I still don't think he's all that great of a quarterback. The step down from Kyler Murray to Ryan Tannehill is a pretty steep one. Like I said, I find Kyler Murray a pretty underrated quarterback. But like I mentioned earlier, Hopkins has had a career of having bad quarterback play, and he has still been able to be very, very productive. Where I do have concerns with DeAndre Hopkins is the way that the Titans run their offense. This team is a very run-heavy oriented offense. They want to get the ball into the hands of their running backs, and that's Derrick Henry. 6'3", 247. We all know Derrick Henry, one of the best running backs in football, who has been doing it at a very high level for 7 seasons now. He put up 1,500 yards last year, 2,000 yards in 2020, 1,000 yards pretty much every year of his career dating back to 2018. The only year he didn't was 2021, where he only played in 8 games. This is one of the best running backs of our generation. I do think we'll get into this in another video. I don't know how much time he has left, because we all know running backs' lifespan very slim. They don't last long in the NFL, but we look at Derrick Henry and we look at his carry numbers. 349 carries last season in 16 games, 219 carries in 8 games in 2021, 378 carries in 2020, 303 carries in 2019. This team loves to run the ball. That's what this team does. And I do worry about the usage of the receivers, because A.J. Brown wasn't utilized to the best of his abilities. Now, A.J. Brown still did great in Tennessee, but we even saw it last year. If we look at what the Titans' numbers were last season in terms of their receiving numbers, it wasn't great. Your leading receiver was Robert Woods with 527 receiving yards, which is not good. The Titans ranked 29th in the NFL in passing yards. They ranked 30th in pass attempts. Their pass average was 13th. They were sacked 49 times. And look, they brought in Andre Dillard. They brought in Peter Skoronski. We'll see how the offensive line takes shape. Overall, this is not a good passing offense. And I am confused how this is going to look for them, because you need to be able to pass the ball to be effective in today's NFL. You can't run the ball and just focus on your defense, which I have concerns about the defense, especially the secondary as well. So what is DeAndre Hopkins' numbers going to look like? Does he move the needle that much? Well, I do think he is going to be a better target for Ryan Tannehill or whoever the quarterback is, because going back into the 2021 season, Ryan Tannehill did throw for 3,700 yards with 21 touchdowns with A.J. Brown on the team. So I think he can get up to around that 3,000 yard mark, but I just don't trust the accuracy of Ryan Tannehill. And we look at the coaching staff as well in Tennessee. I don't think they've got the greatest coaching staff to help develop a willlevis or a Malik Willis to where they could become starters and be plus starters at that. So I have question marks about that. I think Hopkins is going to do fine. I think we could see him get 800 to 900 yards. Maybe he can hit that 1,000 yard threshold again. We'll see what Treylonburks can do. If he can take that next step up, I think it's going to be interesting. But does he move the needle that much for the Titans? Not really. I know they have a new offensive coordinator, but until I see it, I need to be able to see that this team is going to trust their quarterbacks to pass the ball, and you're not running Derrick Henry 350 times a season. So I do have question marks about that. If they can rely on the passing game a little bit more, I could see this being a decent year for the Titans, but I'm going to give them an extra win. I had them at 6-11. I think they can get to that 7-10, which is where they finished last year. But I'm not super moved by this move. I don't think it moved the needle for Tennessee that much. I'm going to be very curious to see what Hopkins can do in this offense. But guys, let me know, what do you think? Do you think the Titans are a better team today because of this move? Would love to hear your guys' thoughts down below. But that's going to do it for me. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.